Hey guys, welcome to the second episode of TBC podcast.
We hope you like the video. Bro,
Skanda,
bro,
what happened?
what up?
Life, bro. Too much work.
Work.
Yeah.
You just started working, right?
Too
How
much
was it
work.
before?
It was better. At least I had time to sleep. No, I don't even have time to sleep.
Now no one has time to sleep.
Yeah.
Whenever they'll be like, do work. Do this, do that. Please submit it. It will be 2 o'clock in the morning also, they'll call you. Please do this.
I mean, that's just the thing about, getting into adulthood.
Yeah.
Too
Right.
much. It's too much. It's peaceful before.
Before, in the sense.
After school, after 10th, PUC. PUC was hectic, but yeah.
PUC was hectic for you.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I was in base.
Even I was.
Yeah. For me, it was more
Base
hectic.
tuitions.
Yeah. Not tuitions.
Coaching! Whatever.
Yeah.
It was hectic that time, bro.
I don't think so. I mean, that is far better than our present lives, right?
Yeah, but still, it was irritable. It was like we didn't know what we were doing. JEE.
Yeah, still.
I think we just had like a generic route where, people go into, in India specifically, people only have like 2 or 3 decisions to make after 10th. Like they usually go into JEE for engineering, or they go for NEET for medical, or that's all they have. If you're an art student, there's nothing for an art student over there.
If you're
But-
a commerce student, you'll be again back into CA or other things. I don't know. I'm
Business.
not a
Yeah,
commerce student.
basically.
Business.
Yeah.
Yeah, it will be on that path. We will never know where it goes.
But how was it different for us? I don't think. We are doing different things right now. Like for instance, I think you guys are into. You finished your internship right now,
Yeah.
and
I'm working.
He's
Yeah.
starting to work, and I think he's also in an internship.
Half and half.
Half an hour.
It's
Half and half. So basically into
internship,
the-
but I'm working. I'm getting.
Paid.
So basically into employee culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Into the employee culture.
Yeah.
But I never wanted to become an employee.
Yeah,
like even like right now.
See, the
Yeah.
thing is, even we don't want to become employees.
Exactly. That's the
But
point.
we have to start out somewhere, right?
See, the thing is, for me, I don't know. Like people start with saying that okay, I want to become an employee, earn a little bit, and then once I accumulate a bit of money, then I'll start my own business. Once I get an idea, I'll take it slowly. But I believe that the real decision that you need to take once you're growing up, entering your adulthood, is to make varied decisions as much as you can. Like try everything. Like that's what I did when I'm majorly self-taught in whatever things I've learned in life. Like be it anything. Like I'm into computer science, right? So anything about computer science I've learned majorly from the internet, like YouTube or whatever it is. And I think that has helped me a lot in how I shaped what decisions I need to make in order to get my career up and about, right? So that is the reason. And I don't really like working as an employee because it's a 9 to 5 job, you're stuck in it, and you're working, the generic thing, you're working for someone else and all those things. And it's mainly about freedom and taking your own decisions, but it doesn't mean that being an entrepreneur or starting your own thing is actually easy. It's not easy. It's way more challenging. It takes up way more time. But the only trade-off is that I won't be earning at first. Unlike you guys,
Right.
if you have a job, you'll be earning a salary.
Yeah.
But I won't be earning a salary.
Yeah, so this brings down to risk taking actually. Like you made that risk of leading your life or maybe choosing that particular decision of choosing the entrepreneurial life where you are ready to take those constraints in your life, like not earning in the initial stages and maybe satisfying the society, coming to that point. So we are choosing our decisions based on our maybe backgrounds, I guess. That is the differentiating factor in our lives, in every person who's entering adulthood. So yeah, that's the reason maybe we are choosing the generic path for now, like working the employee culture, like working 9 to 5, or as you said, like it's basically not 9 to 5, it's the formal thing that is told as 9 to 5, but we work 24 hours 7 basically.
We are always on call.
Yeah, we are always on call. We have to be online each and every time. There is no work timing that's ending or that's beginning.
Especially if you are a fresher, they are going to
Make us like
make
grill.
us work like
Yeah.
hell.
Yeah, but as I think he was saying, he was talking about it previously, before we actually started the podcast, was there are a lot of factors which depend on those decisions, including, and one of the things you said was, I think, family.
Yeah, family.
Because in India, it's a major thing where people live with their families. A lot of people live with their families. They live with their significant other or their partners or whatever it is, and those people actually influence those decisions. Like,
Because they are a part of your life, right?
yeah, they are a part of yourself.
That
So
dependable
whatever
on-
decisions you take, it affects them also.
Exactly.
Right? So they are going to be a part and parcel of whatever decisions you make also. Even if they also take any decisions, that will be an effect on you. At the end of the day, both of the decisions, if they match only, you can be in harmony. Or else there'll be problems at home.
No, it's not actually problems. There'll be difference in opinions.
There will
when
be
you-
different in consequences basically.
Yeah, consequences.
Yeah, there will be consequences.
The outcome
There's
of
no
the-
right or wrong actually. The consequences.
Yeah, there's no right or wrong,
Yeah.
but it really comes down to how you wanna skew the decision. Is it more towards their happiness, or is it more towards your own satisfaction about your own decision? So if you're satisfied with it depends on how you are satisfied with your decision. If you're satisfied that they're happy with your decision, then you're satisfied. No matter what the decision is.
Yeah.
Even if it's skewed in their favor. But if you believe that, if you're a person who believes that whatever decision I make, it has to benefit my life in a certain way, that comes at a cost. It comes at a cost of maybe the happiness of the people around you, or their comfortability, their satisfaction, or whatever it can be. And I think while making these decisions, coming back to what we were talking about career and the different streams we can take while we finish our educations and stuff, those are one of the main things where we actually start making decisions.
Yeah.
Like choosing our path of knowledge or path of learning is one of the major decisions we make before actually entering adulthood.
Yeah.
And once we're at the end or the cusp of the ending of that particular stage, I think that's where we start actually thinking about other decisions which are not related to any education or learning or whatever it is.
Yeah, so, but still, as you said before, like it might be skewed in their favor. Of course, it will be in most of the cases just while entering our adulthood phase, because we have just passed our school or maybe college before entering our adulthood, and our parents, most importantly, in first priority, they are the ones who take decisions for us. They were the ones actually till that particular point who were taking decisions for us. Even now, of course, for a few major decisions.
That's a part and parcel of the Indian lifestyle.
Yeah, of course. So they are a part and parcel of our lives while taking that particular decision. We can't be taking any or deciding upon a particular decision just thinking about ourselves, our future. So they are also in our part of a life. So that will be a major factor while choosing or maybe making decisions in our life.
I mean, there are many factors while talking about similarities in factors and such. There are many factors like that. But if we were to talk about how apart from the factors, considering those factors, what else would would you think about when you actually make those decisions? Like, for example, if you have no boundaries, like if you're actually a free bird in such a way that you can take decisions according to which you can plan your future. Like, for instance, because that's how I did it. Like in my case, my parents were supportive of it, and at the same time, any decision I took, I think I took it based on the most considering it the most efficient way, in such a way that if I took those decisions, like how will it affect me in career wise in the future? Because having a profession, it is not about going through the system. According to
Right, of course.
according to me, I think if you need to be something or if you need to learn about something, it doesn't have to be necessarily through the system, because that's how. I mean, currently, if you guys, Liga, obviously, you guys grew through the Indian education system, right? And that's how it has, kind of programmed people to think that if you have to grow in a certain direction into a certain profession or into a certain skill set or learning career, you have to go through the system. You have to go through, getting a degree or finishing a course or whatever it is. But I believe that if you can find the right sources where you can get the right amount of skill sets to get into that profession, and it doesn't have to necessarily be a profession. It can just be, you trying out some projects. Because I believe that, as I told you earlier, at this point in our lives, when we initially start our adulthood, I think the main thing we need to be doing is, trying out different things. So if you're even choosing one particular field, try out different projects in that field. Because when you do different types of projects in a particular field, you'll encounter all the errors you make in that process. You encounter all the small defeats and the small successes, which kind of motivate you as well as demotivate you, depending on if it's a defeat or a success. But you learn from every single step. Once you risk it all, because every step has risk associated with it.
Right.
So once you start taking risks on an incremental basis, I think you can actually learn through the process, and once you start learning, you can explore more, because it's always gonna be a process of questions after questions after questions. Like if you come to a question and you search for an answer, that answer will contain another question which you might not understand. And that will lead to a chain of questions which will actually, increase your curiosity about the whole subject and lead you to learn in a more broader way. So this is a really fun process. It's a really challenging process. It's a lengthy process. But again, it comes at the cost of your time, interests, energy, because you're not going through the system. It's not all well made for you. So it's never well made. But when you go through the system, I think you have a structure in place over there. But that structure is biased towards someone.
More than biased, it's like everyone should learn everything.
That's a part. That's a key part of the system right now, right?
Yeah. As you mentioned before, we must not follow the mass, or we must not go through the system that is being structured in India particularly. So I second that, but still there is an amount of risk that one can assess in their own lives, that how much they can be ready to take that particular decision, which is embedded with that particular amount of risk. So while I take my personal experience, just to give a small example, while I was choosing my branch for the engineering, so I chose mechanical, which raised questions from many of them who are connected to me, because everyone are following the mass of choosing the computer science branch just because of the job security that they are hearing, but they don't know the reality of the CS graduates they are facing with having no skills. Coming back to your same point, they don't have any skills and they are tagged as unemployed post-graduation. So that is one point, we must be able to take that particular risk, having that far-sighted mind, and prove ourselves and prove people who are depending on us. So that will be the main point also.
So, but I think you talked about having no skills when applying for jobs, right?
Yeah, not particularly only jobs, maybe choosing any particular their career path, not the career, the education path that they are choosing. So that will be.
If you go to the system, at every point of the system, there'll always be a prerequisite that you have to be already in the system. Like for example, if you're applying for your masters, right, you have to have a bachelor's degree.
Yeah, of
or
course.
you have to have finished something, or even if you're applying for a job, they require a bachelor's degree.
Yeah, of course, that is a basic.
So
criteria.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So even if you're a person who is gonna be like, okay, I don't want to take that risk of isolating myself from the system and taking all the risk on my hands itself. If you want to go through that secure path of having a job security and stuff like that, and with all the benefits that come along with it, the structured benefits is what I mean. I think over there also the path of actually learning on your own and developing that pool of skill sets is a really important thing, because you need to stand out from the crowd. Depending on, I mean, if we talk about India itself, it's right now it's the number one population in the world. Like it has the highest population in the
and
world,
also
right?
for generating the most engineers.
Yeah,
in
and
the
generating the
world.
most engineers.
Yeah.
So if we have that large pool of engineers or even people in general, and they're gunning for the same job, or they're gunning for the same position.
Yeah.
How do you stand out? You stand out not through your education, because everybody has gone through the system.
Yeah, right.
So you have to go through that process regardless. So why do it with the added risk of being rejected and stuck in the same place, rather than you can take additional risk for yourself and build on your own, build things on your own, because it's sure that you built it, it's exclusively accessible by you, and you're the only one who can grow it, and you're the only one who can benefit from it. That is what I believe.
Learn a few things. It's easy. You have the internet at your home.
Yeah, learning is a different
They add up to
thing
your skills.
in this process,
They
basically.
add up to your skills, no?
Of course, but I'm talking about just about the.
So you're basically
risk.
differentiating yourself from other people.
Yeah,
If you have more skills, they are going to consider you, right?
yeah, that's there.
It's not like you have to learn the same thing what everyone are learning. No, it's
I mean,
something
how would you differentiate yourself in general?
So I have done 3 to 4 projects which generally people won't do. So that is there on my resume.
But many people do projects.
Many people do projects, but it's not related to the one what I'm doing right now. Huh? See, now I'm going through CS engineering right now. I have done IoT projects, I have done Python projects, all those things I have done. Except that I have done management projects as well. So I'm getting the extra credit of being in the management sector rather than just having technical knowledge, right?
No, but what I'm talking about is you're doing projects. That's fine. That's a indicator of
But
you
that
saying-
adds up to your skills, right?
Okay, maybe to simplify that, his question, consider yourself as an employer, or maybe you are recruiting someone, and then how would you differentiate your
Skills.
candidate list?
I'll give him a problem to do.
And that's a basic thing everyone screens, right?
Right now, if he has another skill of management or some other thing, I'm taking management. Okay.
Yeah.
So if he can do that also and do this also, I'll hire him basically, instead of a person who will just do the programming or some other thing for me.
Exactly.
If he has management skills, of course I'm going to take him.
Bro, that's what we're talking about. Even that pool of people being, having multiple areas of interest, like for example, you said management and computer science, right? So even that pool of people is large. That's what we are saying. So regardless of how many fields you're in or how many projects you have done, the thing I'm talking about is, see, even if your projects, even if you're done projects right now, how sure are you such that you can enhance a project that is like 10 times complex than that? Because that depends on your skill set.
Yeah.
So when you get into the job and you actually are given a problem, and you said you have not worked on this problem from scratch, but you have to work on it right now, continue it, and I need it to be evolved in such a way that it is production level based, so you can push it to production. How confident are you that, considering your skills, whatever the projects you have done for that job position, how confident are you that you can pull that off without anyone's help?
I'll learn. If I encounter a problem again, I'm going to go back to the basics. I'm going to go through everything again. It will be a cycle again. Again, I'll come back to the problem.
So that's what I'm talking about. Employers don't require that. They want people who have already learned those things.
So basically employers don't look into the projects I mean, they look into the projects like they actually look up the problem solving techniques that you have used basically.
Yeah.
They don't want the type of projects that you have solved, the quantity. They want the quality of how you have solved those projects.
Yeah, but they even expect you to know each and every other thing what is related to that project, right?
Of course, you need the technical
Yeah.
part of it. I'm not talking about the technical part. I'm talking about soft skills that is you are able to differentiate yourself
Now you're
from
talking
the
about
group.
soft skills, I'm talking about technical skills.
Yeah, so I'm just talking about the differentiating part of
No, soft skills or technical skills, both are included.
Yeah.
But the thing I'm telling is, like your ability to actually use those skills and use it in a more efficient way. Because as you said, right? How confident are you? You said, okay, even if I'm not able to do that, I'll figure it out. What employers actually do is they want people who have already figured it out and are confident enough that they don't take that much time to actually push it to production.
No, not exactly. I don't think so. Employers focus on that particular trait of candidate. They just want people who I'm just talking about the freshers basically. So they just want people who are having that learning mindset and who are people who are ready to learn quickly about the company maybe or about the problems day to day or the real world problems. To answer that particular question of the ability to solve the complex projects, nowadays people are encouraging to solve real world projects, taking the real data and maybe working on those projects and creating our own portfolio based on that. So that might solve the problem of.
No, I think, okay, the people you're talking about, they're usually interns or freshers, as you said, right?
Yeah, freshers. Yeah.
And they're not paid that much. That's for one thing.
That's a different topic.
No, why are you working? That's the reason, right? That's the reason you're working. One of the main reasons.
But that is defined by the entire generic part of the freshers actually. Like each company looks at other companies, their competitors of how freshers are being paid. They don't pay as much as they want to or they can actually. They save up their own bucks.
Obvious.
Yeah.
But money is an integral part of it. But other thing, what I'm talking about is when you actually go up, right? Say for example, if you join as a fresher and you're actually learning after you join and you're taking a whole lot of time to actually, get to that level of the company's level where you can actually, get along with them, understand what they're saying, and make it more efficient. It becomes really hard for you to actually climb the ladder, or even if you want to grow inside the company, or, get paid more, or whatever it is, growth in general. But in general, when you look at companies who hire, managers, or just like for instance, if I talk about computer science, right? So senior developers, even junior developers for that matter, they need to have some level of like their ability to mess around with their skills, move around topics in their heads, interconnect, link, be able to manage things on their own at the same time, because every manager or even every founder or CEO or whoever it is in the top level executives or even the managers, they look for people who are self-sufficient on their own.
Right.
So if you're in the learning process when you join the company, the learning process is usually through your managers or people who in your colleagues or whoever it is, because you talk to them, you speak with them, and they share their information, they share their experiences. Oh, I encountered that bug or that error, so this is how you solve it. So that's majorly how you learn once you join a job.
Yeah.
But if you have learned that through self-experience, it's more easier for you to actually learn it and through your managers, and you can pump yourself up to that level prerecursively, instead of taking a longer time to understand the bottom level and then go up. Because it's the point I'm making is the time difference is more.
Yeah, right. To solve this particular problem, maybe that's the reason people are doing more internships during their engineering phase actually. So that will be helping them while sitting for the full-time roles or maybe for the fresher roles basically. So the past internships, the 1 month or 2 months internship that they provide, of course, will not be paid during these internships. So that will be a head start for freshers.
I mean, no, the reason I'm telling these things is because me myself have experience, and as you guys know, right, I'm doing a thing of my own. I'm working on my own stuff. I have my own companies and stuff. So that is, as an employer or as a person who runs a company or owns a company, and when I or we are who if we're working on a product or a service, that is how we look at people. We usually look for people who are well rounded in such a way that they are multitasking, they're multi talented, they're multi skilled, and they can use all of these things in harmony with each other at the same time.
Yeah.
That is the best combination an employer can look for. So when we see that in freshers, we will obviously motivate them to learn more, and at the same time, more than the generic part of the public who will be paid, or the freshers who will be paid, they'll obviously be paid a little bit more because they have put in efforts to grow themselves beforehand.
Yeah.
So I think that's a really important thing which we notice once we see people gunning for these jobs.
Yeah, so I second that. So this is a mindset of people who are working in a startup.
Yeah.
So you are building a startup which goes on to the company while it grows, basically. So this is the mindset, as I said before, like this is followed by people now at this current generation, maybe not the established companies right now. They don't pay you at all.
I agree.
There are no increments, like they are paid the same average amount that is being considered in the country for that particular role.
No, I agree on that, because that also I have experienced. There's a really big difference between how a startup functions and how a MNC functions.
Yeah.
There's a really big difference. But I mean, considering all of these data and all of these things in mind, I think that's how, coming back to what we were speaking earlier, is that's how an individual has to take their decision while gunning or deciding, making the binary decision of should I go out on my own or should I go through the system. And there's another variable in that. The variable is like, which profession do I actually go to, and that depends on their interests. Like, some people are actually confused about what their interests are in general. Like, I think you were moving around between your interests a couple of times before.
Yeah, just once. It was from medical to engineering.
Yeah, medical to engineering. How did that go?
It went great, actually. I am very happy with the decision I've taken right now. So, if it was medical also, I would have been happy. But
I mean, what's the difference you noticed when you were actually, moving around from decision to decision? Because I think you spent like a year on that for.
Yeah, I actually took a year drop for that also, NEET. So the thing was, the qualifying marks was very high. One thing. Second thing was, we will never get a college in Bangalore.
So basically, what was your thought process like from transitioning from medical to engineering? So many people do that, but still you took a drop also.
Some people actually take more than 2 to 3 years gap.
Yeah,
I've seen
because
that.
they are dedicated to.
We have friends who have done that.
Yeah.
They are out of contact right now, but okay.
Yeah.
No, that's what we were talking about, right? Because they're dedicated to that interest which they have.
So was that your backup plan? Engineering was your backup plan? Because taking a drop takes a lot of decision, including your parents actually.
So that was a good decision only. My parents were sort of okay with it, but not so much.
But what about monetary wise? Like, what did you think? Was money in your mind when you were actually switching, or initially made the decision for medical?
Money was not there on my mind. For me, the course and what it had
the interest
was the major thing for me. So I took NEET. I was happy with it. When I didn't qualify, I was like, let it be, it's fine. See, the thing was, I loved computers and programming from a long time. But I never worked on it because I had a chance of going into medical. NEET, all those things.
Like, you had the opportunity.
Yeah. So when I lost that chance of going to NEET, I got an option to get into computer science.
So you took the other?
Yeah, I took the chance. See, I can't waste another year saying, I'm going to do NEET again. There'll be pressure on my parents, all those things.
I think that's two important things that we notice in the general public, is that loss of opportunities, where they actually let go of opportunities, or fail to catch them. And the other thing is they really don't think about money when they actually make decisions until and unless they actually enter the phase where they're starting their careers or something like that. I mean, for me myself, I started thinking about the monetary value of my decisions way before I started my careers. And actually I started, doing my projects when I was back in college, and that actually transitioned into my business. But even before that, I had the notion of, okay, if I made this decision, how would it affect me in a monetary basis?
Yeah.
So I think people, usually don't consider that, and I think they should, because if they do that, they can actually plan it out for the rest of their, like, maybe that general dialogue where you sit in an interview and the interviewer asks, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Right? Like, if I were to be asked a question, where do I see myself in 5 years, I need to be able to answer that based on how well I've blueprinted out my life. Is it going to be on a monetary basis? Is it going to be on a personal, social basis? Because some people are like, okay, I'll just experience my life for a couple of years rather than focusing on the money. But some chose the latter. They'll go for the money part. So I think there's a big difference in how people choose that. And what did you do when you chose I think mechanical? Yeah. And how did that go on a monetary mindset?
No, I didn't think about the monetary mindset, fortunately. So even my parents were supportive of that particular decision. Of course, they were a bit confused or maybe worried about my decision of choosing mechanical, because they were hearing people or maybe my family members or far relatives, who were choosing only CS as an engineering path, and they were looking at the salaries that they were getting, but they didn't have the idea or maybe the actual reality of how much the freshers are being paid. So initially I was not interested in CS, and I was interested in all the automotive part and all the cars basically. So that's the reason I chose mechanical. Of course, as I said before, like, we have to be far-sighted while taking any kind of risk in our own decisions. So the risk, the far-sightedness I had while choosing mechanical was that mechanical engineers have the option of keeping their career options open. Like, they can transition into any field that they want. You name a guy who's mechanical engineer, 90% of them will not be mechanical engineers in their career path. So, considering me also, I'm not doing a core job. I'm doing a management role in a startup. So that is there. I was far-sighted about that particular thing, that I will be able to make that transition into other roles, if not the technical CS roles in an MNC or IT jobs.
I think the main point I want people to focus on, I think you guys will also agree on this, is they have to start learning about money, cash flow, and the importance of it as they start making their decisions, which may be starting from their decisions about their education, or at least when they start making decisions about their career. It might be about their profession, because if you don't know how money works, if you don't know how even the system works, because even if you're not went through the system, majority 99% of the world works according to the system. So you have to understand it. I think one time I think I've told this to you. I don't know if I told this to you guys, but I quite often say this is, if you have to beat the system, you have to go through the system. That is one thing which I always told. And you have to understand the system. You have to understand how the cash flow works. Does it flow through your own decisions, or does it flow through the system as you move around it? Because you need to understand the financial system, you need to understand banking, you need to understand how you make your decisions on saving or investing or whatever it is. And I think we might need to talk about more about investing and saving, and
maybe in the future.
Maybe in the future we'll make another podcast about it. But I mean, that's a really important thing that people have to focus on.
Especially of people who belong to our age group actually.
Mainly.
Actually, because this is the age where we start earning, where we get the first salary and make the transition of where we get money from our parents to the employers. So we'll have some amount of money even if it's not big. It's very important to plan it and save it, or maybe plan our expenses as well, as you said before. That is
But
very
again,
important.
talking about the system,
Yeah.
when you make the transition, right, from a personal space of managing money to a public space of managing money, the system is involved.
Yeah.
There are statutory things that have to be taken care of. There are specific processes that have to be done. Like for instance, the most common one, which is paying taxes.
Yeah.
Which is a really important thing you need to learn once you start earning money from somewhere else. So yeah, I mean that's one of the things. But overall and all in all, once you enter adulthood, I think the major change is money and responsibilities, decisions, freedom.
That is a questionable word, but okay.
That is a questionable word,
Yeah.
but okay.
Okay.
I mean, that's most of the transition, right?
That's most of the transition.
That's most of the transition. So, yeah, I think we can end it over here, saying that balancing these things is the key to transitioning into adulthood.
Basically, risk taking actually.
Risk-taking.
Being a part of the system and also taking.
I mean,
risk actually.
the transition is a risk. It's an unavoidable risk.
Yeah.
But the level of risk or the amount of risk you can take, that's in your hands.
Yeah, the amount of the struggle in your adulthood, that is how you can control.
If you
That depends on
struggle,
your
you'll be
decisions.
happy.
That depends on your decisions, and every decision is a binary decision. Whatever you take, there's a risk associated with it. It's evenly split.
Yeah.
It may be 30, 70, 60, 40, however it is. So that risk percentage decides how hectic it's going to be for you, how smooth it's going to be for you.
Exactly. Struggles.
The ups and downs.
Yeah, struggles is inevitable in adulthood, including the transition. But it all ends up in making our own decisions and that particular risk that we are focusing on.
So yeah, I think our viewers will appreciate
Have
their
their own
decisions,
views,
have their own
actually.
views, make their own decisions based on, I think, whatever we've talked about. And if it's actually helpful for you, let us know in the comments down below. And if you have an opinion on it, and whatever you guys have done in a different way, let us know. And we'll see you in our next podcast. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.